Welcome to another episode, everyone. When Monster Cody hit the Crip module in the LA County Jail and crashed all the way out. In fact, he took some people hostage, including the police. Well, one of their homeboys had just come in to the LA County Jail. This individual had been beaten badly by the police on the street. They saw him in this wretched condition and became irritated and attacked the police there at the Crip module in 4800. Check this out.
But yeah.
Walk me through your first time going to 4800.
I went 4800 early, man. I went 4800 the same year they created it, after Heron, rest in peace, man, was jumped on by the pigs.
Explain what 4800 is.
Well, 4800 was actually just a regular module on the 4,000th floor. They kept people in there who was in transit, moving from here to there. It was just a dump little spot right next to the kitchen, 4,000th floor. And
County Jail.
Yeah, and then just so happens that at that time, I guess the pigs on the street had been doing sweeps and shit, and there was accumulation of Crips in the module, something like 12 or something. And when you put 12 Crips in the module, whether it's from Compton, Long Beach, Watts, or Compton, South Central, that's a predator ass fucking beehive, right? And so they got to go out and get it. That's just instinctual. So it's the territorial imperative.
How many tiers was it in 4800?
Oh, excuse me, yeah. The 4800 set up like you would think any pig observation unit would be set up. There's in the center there's a gangway, but it's encased in like a concrete at waist level, and then on top of the concrete there's a panel where the pigs can walk inside this little groove and observe the tier at second tier level. There's 4 tiers: Abel, Baker, Denver, Abel, Charlie, Baker, and Denver. Four, right?
Yeah.
A, B, C, D. Four men on the bottom, 4 on top, 6 men on the bottom. So that's how big the module was. Approximately 250 people can fit inside one of these modules. So this day, it had been accumulation of about 12 Crips, 13 Crips had gone together. They had from different areas of the city. They had landed all there in transit. And they went to chow, and they seen one of their cohorts, one of the comrades, one of the good brothers, one of the G's from Spooktown, Compton, Acacia Block, Heron. And, I believe here in Spooktown, yeah. And he's the G. And he got beat up by the pigs. He was all swole up. So the homies was upset. They were feeling away. They was feeling like that, as they should. So when he went to chow that day, they created the situation. One of them reached across the table and grabbed one of the big buckets they were using for ice and water and all that, and threw it. And the whole thing tumbled, almost as if it's slow motion. Because once this dude got hit with this motherfucker, if it did hit him, it's on with these dudes. After I throw it, that's it. And it hit him, hit that pig, and they jumped up on the table and created a rebellion right there. Took the 4,000th floor chow hostage and began demands. While they began demands,
So at that time, that's when individuals were walking to the chow. They had the chow halls right there on the floor, and you would walk into the chow hall. They used to give you that juice that we used to call Jim Jones, because it was some horrific, supposed to be Kool-Aid, but a lot of incidents took place at the chow hall in the LA County Jail. Before the Crip module, during the Crip module, any floor that you would go on, when you go inside of the chow halls, you either get into it with the police, oftentimes you would get into it with the police in the chow hall. But there would be gang wars as well, right there in the chow hall. But this interview right here, as we can see, Monster Cody is a bit older. In fact, I believe this is the last interview before he passed away. Still sized up, still a force to be reckoned with, as we can see at this time. Allegedly, supposedly, drugs had taken hold of him some, but he was still a bright, energetic, and brilliant individual. And in fact, the interview, I'm gonna get into some parts of this interview. I'm just playing this part of it right here. But he said some profound things in here, even according to the individuals who were leaving comments, saying that he said that all big men are not strong and every closed eye is not sleep, And he's talked about how he got bullied when he was younger, and that's why he ended up joining the gang. That's why he ended up joining the H-Rate gang, since he got bullied one day by this individual who did some things to him he shouldn't have did. And people were saying, see, that's why you have to be careful with how you treat people, because bullying this individual turned him into a monster. Because he's essentially alluding to that him getting bullied is why he ended up joining the gang and then started doing all of this monstrous stuff, if you will. Again, he got the name Monster Cody because the individual had hit him in the face. He chased this individual down and brutalized him, disfigured his face, and the news got a hold of it, did a broadcast, and said, because they hadn't found the perpetrator, and said whoever had done this was a monster. Whoever had done this to this individual had disfigured his face. They said he was a monster. That's how bad this individual's face was. And that's where the name Monster Cody came from, basically. And we all heard the story. Hell, I just played it yesterday, I believe, or so. I covered it, where Monster Cody is alleged to have cut off an individual's arms, or him and some of his boys, his friends, his homies, dropped the individual off in front of Jefferson High, and he kept the arm and took the arm with him. Yeah, so you might not want to be out here bullying people, but this is a bright man, obviously, who had written 3 books already, got famous off of the first book, and obviously a well-known figure in Los Angeles, California, a cult figure, if you will. He was on a sort of different stratosphere, at least at a certain time. Again, towards the end, but things were a little different. Nevertheless, he still had immense respect, and no one wanted to try him. We've heard his homeboys, who are also reputables from his hood, saying that his homies were scared of him, were absolutely deathly afraid of this individual. And these are solid, strong individuals who individuals are scared of. But they all were still scared of this individual here. But along with his bravado and his strength came brilliance, for sure. A lot of us end up in certain situations where our lives take a certain turn, and sometimes we can't bounce back. Sometimes we're trying to bounce back. Who knows, if he had another chance or had a longer chance, who knows, he could have got it together and bounced all the way back. It's really sad how he ended up passing away and all, but he had a hell of a life and left his mark, and that's all any of us can really hope for, is to leave some sort of legacy. You may not say it's a great legacy, considering the violence that relates to his name, but he is well respected, as he should be.
Pigs said that they were right, they were men, and that they take care of it, and that you have the absolute right to resist because the air conditioner is off. The air conditioner? Are you fucking crazy, you son of a bitch? Listen, they were next door cleaning that module out, 4800. So when they brought them 12 to 13 Crips out, they made them come out naked. They beat them and ushered them into the 4800 and made 4800 the Crip module. They gave them gray jumpsuits. Visits, they had to be escorted on a chain like slaves. Every other prisoner in the jail wearing blue jumpsuit, the Crips wear gray. So in no time, there were 250 Crips teeming at the gates, barbarians for sure, right at the gates, literally.
Trying to get it who?
Each other. And so it began with me there, the organized crime mentality. Because it really wasn't revolutionary yet. it was organized crime still. It was, I started saying, damn, I had been, I think I was having like an epiphany because like I said, I had been introduced through Tookie and them, through y'all antics, through y'all culture as a Crip before sets would even, like, you know what I mean? There were cliques, but there weren't sets. You feel me? And so then when my set became, it was like, they gave me a reason to set Trip. You feel me? And the more you put a label in front of you, the more you'll cling to it as not only strength, but as a excuse. Why you don't have to do nothing. Or he might be a Crip, but he's from such and such a hood. Or yeah, he a Crip, but I don't fuck with them dudes. Or yeah, he a Crip, but he ain't no gangster. Or he from neighborhood. But see, the thing is, when the 60s would be at the parties with us, and we'd be at the party with the Hoovers, and we'd be hollering our hood, it wasn't no antagonistic contradiction there. The contradiction was pliable. Yes, you from 60s and I'm from trade and you from Hoover. But we all Crips. That's the strongest point. You feel me? These exist inside this Crip. That's what makes this shit so fucking hard. And you can't dance like me, fool. You start sea-walking. And I mean, it's friendly competition. But then when friends become enemies, it's dangerous because you know, man, I know this dude. I ate at his house. Now y'all want to go shoot this dude's house up? And his mother's in there. I mean, shit like that. You know, dilemmas. You start running across. When you see this dude, you know this dude's name just came up in some of your homie shit. That he might have been involved on somebody got killed. And you see him. But you and this dude grew up from the sandbox. And you just let him pass. It's just like, war is elastic, man. It's politics are elastic. Love is elastic. That shit, it stretches and it accommodates. You know what I mean? Like when the crack epidemic came, and we went from being broke and piecing up on a court, and having a stolen car, getting $2 or $3 worth of gas, and somebody's legitimate car drive all day, or having a stolen car. We went from that to having an abundance of shit. And so the homies who had the most, the homies who didn't have, were gonna rob them. So they didn't come around. So when they didn't come around, the homies who didn't have nothing to it, the homies abandoned them. Now they really after them. But the homies who are balling will unite with anybody from any hood that got the same amount of money as them. Because then at that level, it ain't about the war. It's about the war on poverty. But it's a Ponzi scheme. Because they ain't kicking nothing back down. They going further up. And will close the door and weld it shut on you. Dudes you grew up with. That money, when the money came, it created classism. It created capitalism in the hood. It created an economic disparity that wasn't just between adults and youth. Like when I was young, only adults could be in the drug game. There wasn't no young dealers. Everybody, you had to buy your commercial weed, 4-finger bags, in the wax bag with all the seeds from an adult.
Yes, it was indeed classism that sat in the haves and the have-nots, particularly with the crack epidemic. And people started balling. You had the ballers in the hood. They started being known for balling and being dealers and getting money and this and that. And they started turning their backs on the younger individuals in the younger generation who just wanted to gang bang and be violent and not have anything to do with any money making ability. They were good on these individuals. Some people, will say that they understand that these individuals did what they had to do to get themselves out of the situation, and they didn't have to do anything else. Everyone is on their own, But some people are going to say that they should have reached back down and helped out. But what Monster Cody is referring to is, of course, these gangs. A lot of these gangs were friends at first, if you will. Everyone got along. Everyone was cool. And then a certain situation happened, whatever the situation was. Every war, every gang has a situation that started the war. A lot of it started over women, over females. That's what the A-Trade Gangster and the Rolling 60s war started over. But here you can see how reflective he is, how smart he is. He understands the street culture, the dynamics of gang culture, why it is the way that it is. He had changed his name to Sanyika Shakur and had become a revolutionary, if you will. He just still perhaps had some vices that he was unable to overcome in his lifetime, which again, I believe that had he overcome them, then, who knows where we would be, man.
You know what I mean? When no kids running around with coke in their pocket or heroin in their pocket or pills. It wasn't like that. And then certain areas got certain drugs. I'm so glad that in my area, heroin didn't come through there. All right, listen.
You know Big Rebo, right?
Sir, I don't know who you are.
What other Crips were on the yard with you back then? Any household names?
Doc from Harlem. James Miller from Harlem Godfather. Monster Cody with his crazy ass.
Wasn't there yet back then.
Lil Fee.
Big Rebo from Park Village.
Man, listen. Let me tell you something. if ever there is a Crip's Crip, no flair, no gimmicks, no additives, no preservatives, all fucking natural. It's fucking Rebo. Look, man, look. Let me tell you how bold, how honest, how serious he is. Like I was talking earlier about fanatics, true believers. We in the Crip module, this fanatical ass 4-tier module. Four people in the top tiers sales. There's 18 sales on the top tier, 18 sales on the bottom, or something like that. 12 sales. 4 men on the top, 4 on the bottom. All young 18-year-old, 19-year-old. At this time, this is 84, I was 21. I was 20 turned 21. I got out that year. I got out in 84. I got out of Hawaii in 1984. And I got in a shootout with Lil Fee. And that case that he's in jail already been committed already. I believe we had to shoot out. He ended up getting captured with a strap. I ended up getting captured for that shootout because 3 people got shot. So I ended up in the module. So I'm in the module with Big Eddie Boy, Lil Fee, Big Snoop, Fred Hill. It was Gang 60s there, right? It was like about. It was enough of them to be a menace. I say 12 or 14. So they was there. And a horse was there. Fee's criming. There was a little cat named Gator there. And little Gator, it was all gang writing in the cell, so I came up with a marker. And I told, and Gator, he was younger than me, but it wasn't nobody said triple or nothing. And he said, hey, Monster, let me use that marker, man. I said, man, don't fuck my marker up, Gator. I said, you fuck my marker up, I'm gonna knock you out. And everybody started laughing, they thought I was playing.
Man, just go ahead and take this motherfucker back then, man. I don't even want to take no chance. Damn, I mean, look at this dude's hands. You seen his hands earlier? What you mean if I mess your marker up, you gonna knock me out, bro? Damn, just go. I'm cool. Just go ahead and take it, man. I don't even want to take no chance. Like, you can just say, you know what, I think you messed it up. And I really didn't. If that's the case, and just knock me, what do you mean? This dude tripping. Oh, man, we see where this is going. Did he take the marker and mess it up and get himself knocked out? So you talking about the shootout with Lil Fee from Rolling 60s. Of course, Lil Fee is the individual who is on death row or was on death row with Tookie and had stabbed Tookie on death row over a dispute that they had. I believe I covered that here on the Inside Story with me, Damian Porter. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Lil Fee is the individual from Rolling 60s, infamous being locked up for allegedly going to the wrong address and unaliving an entire family. The wrong family. Kids and all. At any rate, this is who Monster Cody is talking about. They ended up having a shootout. Monster Cody is now in 4800 after they shoot out with Lil Fee, but Lil Fee is there.
And I kind of was, but I said it, and then I you know, at that age, you can't pull nothing back. So anyway, he takes my marker and he breaks it open and strikes up all on his wall. So at chow that next day and he gives it back, it's dry. So we walking down the tier and I turn around and I get off on him. Boom! And I knock him down. But he don't go out, but he don't want to get back up. So the next day, they bring Lil Fee back from High Power. Now he charged with the 4 murders. Now he didn't say with Big Crazy Pope and Rebo and some other cat. So when I walk by going to showers, Lil Fee said, hey cuz, what's this about you knocking out my little homie? So I look at Lil Fee, man, this motherfucker is just like a fucking reptile. I mean, that's the only way I can describe him. Even then, before I had the articulation to describe him as a reptile, the dude looks like a cold-ass reptile. I mean, like, and I mean that in an evil, I'm not in a put-down way. I mean, he just looks like, I mean, like, in a minute he's gonna go like this. I mean, his eyes are cold in his expression. And he had them light-colored eyes. He had that pointy nose. I said, this motherfucker is fucking reptile. It was crazy, right? So anyway, I said, look, hey, homie, this is 84. I said, hey, I did all the riding I'm gonna do on your hood. I ain't even tripping on that. So his little piece said, yeah, I did some riding too. So then Rebo stepped up. He in the cell with Lil Fee. And Lil Fee looking at me, I'm looking at him. And Rebo get inside Lil Fee's head and say, right in his set out his head, he said, what that A-Tray gangsta like? He said, got right in my face, but I'm on the other side of the bar, and he say, what that rolling 60 like? You motherfuckers just tripping, cuz. He went on a cold Crip thing on us, right? And it was pride holding us up, like we didn't want to look at each other, but that shit was hitting us, that fool Rebo. So that's when I first really started taking notice of it. That this dude is like a fucking wild ass Southern preacher with this shit. This dude is a Crip, right? So, all right, I'm in the cell with Killer from 107, who at that time he was in good standings, and he was a member of the CCO. So him and Rebo used to talk.
I didn't join nothing. I didn't need to.
And I noticed that the other CCOs in the unit, there's about 13 of them, no, about 9. They all looked at Rebo with respect too. And they treated him, you know what I mean? But what I didn't know is that there's always trouble in paradise. When you look at something, listen. When a fine woman walks into a room, the first thing you have to tell yourself is somebody's already tired of that. Same thing with anything else. Every big man ain't strong. Every closed eye ain't sleep. Deception. It's the center of war.
Was Rebo CCO?
No, Rebo belonged to a group that preceded CCO. You gotta understand at that time.
Yep. Isn't that the truth, man? Every big man is not strong, and every closed eye is not sleep. He said when a beautiful woman walks in the room, understand that someone is already tired of her. She's fresh and new to you. Oh my God, look. You do everything and break your neck for her. Someone has already had enough of this woman and wants you to take her off of his hands. Please, take her. I did all I can do with this girl. I'm done. And that's just the way that it is. Monster Cody, though, right? So reflective, still strong. Again, an older individual by now. And some of his life had taken its toll. You can see really in this interview in different ways. But nevertheless, you still see his strength because strong individuals, they stay strong all the way until the end, until they die, no matter what the circumstances are. I know this for a fact. I know this for 100% fact. If at any time you bow out and bow down in the game, then you were never about it. You were never strong from the beginning, and you were never serious about what it is that you were representing. Man, look, that Crip module, and that's how it is. 4800. Man, it was crazy. The dude got his marker and whatever. Well, he broke the marker in half or whatever, but damn, he get knocked out for that. He handed back to him. He's walking in the line. Monster Cody turned around, just sleeping. Bam, knock him out. And you say, little feet look like a little reptile. He come, what's up with this? What's up with you and my little homie? Because after they already had a shootout, though, they know who one another is. Monster Cody is very young at this time. Oh man, this is nasty work. That Crip module was vicious, bro.
Like when Raymond hit the joint, or Movie Star, and these cats, it was still about the Black Liberation Movement. And so at that time, it was about you being down with this blackness. And then anything contrary to that, or that wasn't paying tribute to that, then you had to stop doing that, or you just be antagonistic with that, and then you didn't know where they was coming from. So the homies, that crippling was just so hard, they said, fuck it, black coats. And they went underground. And because they wear these black windbreakers that they was selling at Tracy or giving away at Tracy, and homies, but they all knew who each other was. And these was G's, our G's. But they were keeping the spirit alive, keeping it alive in the sea of antagonism. And then the Vanguards came. And then that was like the thing to be, because this was the new groove to roll back that old stale thing that y'all was calling the Black Liberation Movement. But y'all was really just gangsters. You know what I mean? In fact, y'all stabbed Raymond. And things like that. So it created the antagonism. And then when the guy who is now the Supreme Commander came to prison, he was a Crip himself. Came from the juvenile tank. That's Kenny Carter. And so when he became the Supreme Commander of Black Liberation Vanguard in prison, he lifted the ban on Crips and said, let them be who they want to be. And when they flooded out, he couldn't believe and understand how much he had been down since 72. The Crips didn't start, according to Tookie, on the west side until 71. 71. So Eddie Haythorne and Kenny Carter caught their case as East Side Crips in 72. So one of these dudes becomes the Supreme Commander of the Vanguard group. He lifts the ban. Crips start flooding out. Like, who is all these people? These dudes is the Crips.
Oh, that's Kev Mac. Shout out to Kev Mac, man. Shout out to Kev Mac videos. Shout out to Monster Cody. Rest in peace, brother. And so obviously they're going to continue on with this interview. This is just part one. Apparently Monster Cody is about to explain how the Crips end up flooding out, once this Supreme Commander lifted the ban. And what happened after that? And he has a lot that he's speaking on. He has a lot that he's speaking on in his mind. The government, the entire culture, America. He has a lot inside of him, even still, that is oozing out, and all of it makes sense. Again, exhibiting his brilliance. I'm gonna get into some more of that. I want to see it myself. This is history. I want to see it myself. I want to see what he has to say myself. Again, particularly, this is his last interview, I believe. This was his last interview. So yeah, I want to see it. He had some other interviews as well. I was looking at a couple of them the other day, just in my own little time. I was just checking them out, and those were deep. I'm gonna have to get into those too at some point. I just want to cover it myself and speak on whatever it is and go back and forth with it really, and see if we can make sense of all of it. This gang stuff, this gang culture, tie it all together and then eliminate it. A lot of us are thinking along those lines and have been thinking along those lines for some time, including Monster Cody. It's just that, the gang banging is still here, the gang culture is still here, and many people are still losing their lives over it, and we want it to stop. But no, I don't want to get sidetracked. 4800 was, it was bad. It was vicious. We already know what happened with Big U when he got in there to 4800. Monster Cody is in there knocking people out. And this is when it's just, he was there when it became the Crip Macho, Monster Cody. He was there, he turned, helped, one of the individuals that helped it to become the Crip Macho. Then once it turned into the Crip Macho, all bets were off. All bets were off up in that place. All bets were off in the Crip Macho. But imagine, you get into a shootout with your arch enemy and Little Fee, then you end up in a county jail with him. And this is right, he said before, he believes, or after Little Fee had caught the case, but he hadn't been locked up yet. He hadn't been arrested for the case yet. So while Little Fee is out for the case that he is now in there on, then they had the shootout. This is crazy, but we all know, some of us know that Monster Cody was shot, I believe, 7 times or so, allegedly by the Rolling 60s. He had a tumultuous life. He had a lot of stuff that he was involved in and a lot of violent encounters, mixed in with his brilliance. Perhaps I'll get into that too when he was shot and how that all went down. I mean, it's just, it's crazy, man. He still had life left. He still had a lot of life left in him, We all just have to be careful with what we do, how we carry ourselves. If we have problems, reach out. We got to reach out and help our people the best that we can. Not that people were not trying to help Monster Cody. I'm sure that they were. He has a lot of people that loved him then and now. Sometimes we don't want to help. Sometimes we think we have all of the answers. No one can help you if you're not ready to be helped. I don't know this situation personally. And again, I don't want to be carrying on like Monster Cody just needed all this help. I mean, he was good and strong, but I'm just saying I know that he was dealing with a few things, as we all are. And sometimes we meet people, like I just did the video on King Yella that was crying and all on YouTube because his son's locked up facing a lot of robbery charges. And sometimes we just, we see people crying out for help, and instead of clowning them and judging them, perhaps we can just help them and without judging why they are in this position. Because you may say, well, why are you in this position? You put yourself in here. Like King Yella was saying, he was using cocaine. So he went broke. He can't even get a ride from anyone, he said. He went broke. He said, I lost everything. I mean, his car, everything. I went all the way broke. So people may look at that and say, well, that's on you. You sniffing cocaine and all that. You went broke. Okay. Yeah, but that's still judgment. Because it doesn't matter why an individual, for the most part, is in a position that the individual is in. Either you're going to help or you're not. I would suggest that you do. Instead of criticizing and judging. We see individuals, we see that they need help, reach out to them, and do all that we can to genuinely help someone, especially our brothers who are in dire need of our help. We are traumatized out here for many different reasons. And we need each other to lean on each other. It's okay not to mean mug another brother, but instead to smile at them. That's okay. It's okay to reach out your hand and embrace one another. What's up, bro? What's up? And hug, embrace. We've been through war. We've been through hell. We need a hug. So they were saying in the comments the other day on Tough Stino's video, where I did a reaction saying the New York goons and all that was coming at me. They said, oh man, DP, the big fella, he need a hug. He tripping. He need a hug. Somebody was saying that over there. Might be true. We all do. There you go. I'm gonna come back and cover some more of this Monster Cody situation. I'm gonna cover some more of this. I'm probably gonna do 10 videos on it because he got a lot of interviews, long interviews. I'm gonna get into this situation some, man. And hopefully y'all watch it. If not, I understand. If y'all get tired of it or whatever. I want to see it myself though. Like I said, I was watching it the other day. Wasn't even about covering it. I just was watching it, chilling. So I want to check it out myself and see his last interview, and see what he was like. Obviously he's going to talk about a lot of the things that he's been through in his life. It's an autobiography of sorts, really, a verbal autobiography. And shout out to Kev Mack, man. Kev Mack got some heat over there on his channel. He got some good stuff over there. He got the old school, the OGs that he has spoken with personally, did interviews with individuals who we'd never be able to get this sort of content from again for whatever reason. He got the Big U, he got Rebo, Monster Cody, he got a lot of stuff, a lot of people. Some that you may not have heard of that are not as famous or infamous as Chucky and Monster Cody and Big U, but we all know who these individuals are, if you may not know from other places around the world. Out in California or Los Angeles or whatever, we know who they are. I'm going to have to get into some of that stuff Kev Mack got going over there. This is up my alley, really, because it's just history. It's a history that I've been involved in myself. And Monster Cody has a lot of history under his belt. He had a lot of history, man. I don't know. I just hate the way that it ended up going, how he ended up passing and all of that. But none of us can dictate or determine how we go. We think that we can. We all think that we are invincible, but none of us can determine that. Rest in peace, bro. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay safe and stay free, people.